Go for it, Mr. Beck.
Alrighty. I'd like to call to order the Plain Township Board of Zoning Appeals meeting for July 2nd, 2025. Let's have an attendance roll call.
Ms. Cernova,
Here.
Mr. Sutton,
Here.
Mr. Reichel,
Present.
Mr. Pusalides, Mr. Souls, Mr. Beck.
Here. Alright, so I'll move to introduction of members. So I am Richard Beck, Chairman of the Board. To my immediate left is Timothy Reichel. To his immediate left is Thomas Ferrara, our zoning director. To my immediate right is Jeff Sutton, and to his immediate right is Tia Cernova. Any changes to the agenda tonight?
No.
Okay. Agenda stands as presented. I will waive reading the statement of duties. It is located at the back of the room. There's a stack of papers there if anybody's interested. That's just how we conduct business here at the Board of Zoning Appeals. I'm going to push approving the minutes to the August meeting because we don't have them in front of us at the moment. So we have 3 appeals on the agenda. We have unfinished business, which is 1401-25, Bible Believers Baptist Church, and then we have 2 appeals for new business, 1402-25, One Easton Company LLC, and 1403-25, Chad Smith. I will begin by reading the fire department's comments into the record because they are the same for all of the appeals. And the fire department has no recommendations or suggestions regarding any of the appeals. So what I'd like to do now is administer the oath. So at this time, if you plan on speaking at all during the course of the evening, please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the information you're about to present is true and accurate to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Those who stood up, if you haven't signed in, if you would after you get done, appreciate it.
In the back of the room.
All right, so appeal number 1401-25. I'll read the appeal. Applicant Bible Believers Baptist Church, 5360 East Center Drive, Northeast, Canton, Ohio 44721. The applicant is requesting an accessory use permit for the property located at 5360 East Center Drive, Northeast, Canton, Ohio 44721. Parcel 52-80031. The applicant would like to place a 24-foot by 24-foot pole barn 15 feet from the side property line, which is adjacent to a property in a rural residential RR zoning district. The property is zoned in a B2 General Business District and is in the northeast quarter of Section 24. So if there's anyone here to present the appeal, please step forward. And I believe you were here already, so
Yes, sir.
you're familiar, but go ahead and state your name and address.
My name is Jonathan Walter, and my address is 2790 Swallen Avenue, Louisville, Ohio, 44641. And yeah, we're just, it was my mistake. When we were here 2 months ago, I worded it incorrectly. I was trying to say that I needed 35 feet off of the 50, and I didn't. I can see how that was very confusing. And so we have it worded as simply as I can today, just to say that the closest point of our building would be 15 feet from the property line there. We did move the building from one side of the basketball court. I think if you have a list there. Last time we were here, we were on the northeast side. This time we're on the northwest, just because it does give us a few extra feet to play with, is concerning the parking lot and the property line. But the closest point would be 15 feet. The farthest point is about 25 feet. And the reason we are asking to put it there is for the same reason I presented last time, which is it just is the most economical. Number one, we're not going to run into the leach beds or the septic that's out front. And then, as we mentioned before, we've had the issues with the Cadillac converters being ripped off, and so we wanna stay in the lights as best we can, so. It was just my mistake. I wasn't trying to mislead you or anything, but, the closest point would be 15 feet, the farthest point would be 25.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else here to speak in favor of the appeal?
Pastor would have been here, but he just had a baby about an hour ago. So
Wow,
Okay.
that's a good reason.
it's a good reason.
Is there anyone here to speak against the appeal? Okay, hearing none. Entertain a motion.
I'll go ahead and read that motion. We basically know all the facts already
Yes.
concerning it because you've been in front of us before, so I'll go ahead and read this one. Appeal number 1401-25, applicant Bible Believers Baptist Church, 5360 East Center Drive, Northeast Canton, Ohio, 44721. The applicant is requesting an accessory use permit for the property located at 5360 East Center Drive, Northeast Canton, Ohio, 44721. Parcel 52-80031. The applicant would like to place a 24-foot by 24-foot pole barn building 15 feet from the side property line, which is adjacent to a property in a rural residential zoning district. Now therefore be it hereby resolved by the Plain Township Board of Zoning Appeals to grant the request.
I'll second.
All right, hearing a motion and a second, any discussion?
I think all the facts that were presented in the first appeal remain relevant, and we agreed upon it in our first meeting. I don't see any difficulties with this. I'd just like to state that.
There's no more discussion, I'll entertain a roll call vote.
Ms. Zernick?
Yes.
Mr. Sutton? Yes. Mr. Reichel?
Yes.
Mr. Beck?
Yes. All right, appeal has been granted.
Thank you.
Enjoy,
Thank you, sir.
and keep your catalytic converters.
Smarter than you would
Hopefully.
think.
Thanks.
All right, the next appeal is 1402-25. Applicant One Easton Company LLC, 4835 Munson Street, Canton, Ohio, 44718. The applicant is requesting a variance for a sign permit at 2710 Easton Street, Suite D, Canton, Ohio, 44721. The applicant would like to place a 57 square foot sign at the front of the building where the maximum square footage allowed is 32 square feet. Section 801.8, wall signs permitted in commercial and industrial districts require a zoning certificate. General requirements: A, the permitted square footage of wall signs shall be determined by multiplying 2 square feet by the lineal foot of building width of the building. The property is zoned B2 General Business District and is in the northeast quarter of Section 14. So is there someone here to present the appeal?
Yes.
And please state your name and address.
I will be. Hi, Grant Giltz, One Easton Company, 4835 Munson Street, Canton, Ohio, 44718. Yes, the sign variance that we're asking is for 57 square feet. The allowed square footage is 32 square feet. And the reason we're trying to maximize signage in that area is we had a former tenant, the Bourbon Room, if you can recall, that was there, and they didn't make it. And one of the things, the number one reason we kept hearing is we did not know they were there. And I know they did the marketing, we did the marketing for them, but people just couldn't find it. And so we want to make Oakwood Square a continued success, and we want our tenants to be successful, and we want them to have the most exposure as possible. You know, the tugboat sign, it's on a white background with the blue letters. And so the blue letters, actually, you know, if you were to measure them up, they really aren't as big as the white sign. We put the white sign, the white backboard on the building because the building is constructed out of a special type of ethos that was used. You can't paint it, you can redo it, but it's a very costly redo. But we want that white background so the blue letters pop out. And so that's why we're asking for the variance grant for the sign variance for tugboats. And with me, I have Mike Munson and his wife Michelle Munson here. They're owners, also owners of Bella's Pizzeria right up the street. Did a fantastic job with that house that we remodeled. And so if there's any questions, Mike is able to answer them for you.
Okay.
Yeah, just, I drove by it before I came in today, and I saw that the sign is already, has been erected there. Are we talking about just the top sign that says tugboats? Are we talking, lack of a better term, I'm sorry, the cartoon character or whatever down below in the boat? Is that one and the same with the top sign, or?
It's one and the same. It is one and the same. So tugboats is the tugboat is the logo for the name Tugboats.
Okay, but when we measure up all the footage, we're incorporating both those signs?
Correct.
Okay, that's the only question.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, anybody else that wants to speak in favor of the appeal? Anyone to speak against the appeal? All right, hearing none. Any further questions?
I can understand with where Mr. Giltz is coming from in terms of the bourbon room in the past. I, as one, had a hard time finding it when it first opened. I did find it eventually, and it was a very nice place. I sympathize with the owners that it's just that wacky location. You know, you see the drug mart and everything, but you just don't know something is back there. So I think you're onto something with the signage. Obviously, it stood out a lot more so than the previous owners did. So I don't have an issue with it.
The location is truly a hardship.
It is.
Yeah.
I guess that's what I'm trying to say. The location is somewhat of a hardship in the fact that unless you know it's there, you don't know it's there.
And the sign would draw your attention.
And it would draw your attention to it. So I have to say.
Okay. Anybody want to make a motion?
I can do another one.
Mr. Motionton?
Yeah, appeal number 1402-25, applicant One Easton Company LLC, 4835 Munson Street, Canton, Ohio, 44718. The applicant is requesting a variance for a sign permit at 2710 Easton Street, Suite D, Canton, Ohio, 44721. The applicant would like to place a 57 square foot sign at the front of the building where the maximum square footage allowed is 32 square feet. Now therefore be it hereby resolved by the Plain Township Board of Zoning Appeals to grant the request.
Second.
All right, with a motion and second on the floor, any discussion? Kind of already had.
Yeah, from what I've already said, it is a hardship, and I can agree to that. It is mentioned by Mr. Farrar, so that's all I have to say.
Okay, roll call vote?
Ms. Cernova?
Yes.
Mr. Sutton? Yes. Mr. Reichel?
Yes.
Mr. Beck?
Yes. Appeal's been granted.
Thank you very much. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Good forth also.
Thank you very much.
Thank you guys very much.
You're welcome. First beer's on you. I pay my way. Thank you.
All right, the third appeal of the evening is 1403-25. Applicant Chad Smith, 6125 Market Avenue North, Canton, Ohio, 44721. The applicant would like to utilize the property of 6125 Market Avenue North as a short-term rental Airbnb. The applicant is requesting a variance to allow the use of a short-term rental in a residential district. 601.15A, 1A1, short-term rental standards. Short-term rentals shall be conditionally permitted in B2 general business districts, I1 light industrial districts, or in I2 general industrial districts, and only with the approval of the Plain Township Board of Zoning Appeals. And the property is zoned in an R1 single-family residential district and is in the northeast quarter of section 16. So is there someone here to present the appeal? Please come forward and state your name and address.
My name is Chad Smith, 6125 Market Avenue North.
All right, you present kind of the basis of your appeal.
Right, so our property has multiple buildings on there, and one of the buildings is an 800 square foot standalone, one bedroom rental, and it was a long-term rental when we purchased the property. So when we purchased, our goal was that long-term renter moved out. Our whole goal was to have that be kind of an Airbnb. I think some restrictions maybe changed, or we were not aware of what they were, but now we're kind of at that point where we would like to Airbnb it. So I kind of have written out some stuff here that I can kind of read out. Kind of where that faces is it faces south onto Hunting Valley. And across Hunting Valley is a large pole barn and a couple paddocks. It's like a 3 acre, well, just more like a field where a woman does like dog training and things like that. So where everybody would enter into that rental, our driveway is large enough to hold 6 cars, so everybody can pull into the driveway to park there. They don't have to back out onto the street, they can turn around within our driveway to exit out of there. We would also put rules in place of, no parties if it is a short-term rental. We live on the property, our house is actually right next door to that smaller dwelling. So we could then, make sure that everybody's, not doing things that they shouldn't be doing there. And as you guys probably know, there's really nowhere around here for hotels minus Gervasi. So we think it'd be a good thing for the community, for people that want to come in from out of town for graduations, for Walsh, for high school, for Hall of Fame week, for just friends and family birthday. We had a friend that actually had an Airbnb kind of more on Diamond. They have since moved, but those were the type of people that would come in and rent their place. Were friends and family of people in the community coming for graduations and all those type of things. There were a few other people that would come here that were traveling nurses and things like that. But they had the Airbnb for 2 years, I believe, and never had any issues that I'm aware of with the town. And yep. So our request is that we could get a variance for our property to be able to do an Airbnb.
Okay, I guess anybody else to speak in favor of the appeal?
Do you want to show them the pictures?
Oh, I do have photos. I don't know if you guys want to see photos, the interior and exterior.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
those
sure.
were the actual,
Yeah.
yeah, so that's kind of the outside, yeah, we can send them around. That's the outside of the smaller building you can see in that map there. And then it kind of goes into the interior, what the interior looks like. And we've redone the whole interior of that, basically took it all the way back to the studs and to the brick where there was brick.
I'll rent it next week. If granted, do you plan to market this in any way?
Only on like Airbnb's website. So we don't have any plans to do anything other than that.
Oh, yeah, you've done a nice job with the, I'll pass them as I see them. You've done a nice job with the renovation.
Yeah, thank you.
Really like the color scheme. My house needs painted. You can do it.
Approximately how many people would you say would sleep? Like, is there a limit on the site?
So there's a 1 bedroom, and then there's a fold-out queen bed, and then there's a futon that folds down. So if you did have a family of 2 with 4 kids, they could all fit in there.
It's 1 unit though.
It is 1, yeah.
It's 1 unit.
It is, yeah. And it is a standalone building. It is not attached to the main house where we live. There's a fence that connects the 2, but that's all. And it has a washer and dryer, I think that was in there, full bathroom, full kitchen, and so you could do 6 people total if you maxed out all the beds. The futon though would be, if your children were larger, you probably would fit 2 there.
Explain a little bit, your first statement was that at one time this was being rented out?
Yeah, as a long-term rental. So I think there was a high school science teacher is what we were told when we came and looked at the house, so he was living in that building. And nobody was living in the main house. But it was actually subdivided into a duplex. So upstairs had its own dedicated kitchen, downstairs had its own dedicated
Wow.
kitchen, and there was a door. that-
On the main house.
The main house,
Main
yeah.
house.
And I guess from my understanding is that also had been rented out to two separate people at one time. And even though the zoning says it's zoned single family, when we purchased it, we were told it was multifamily, so our loan is
Not from
multifamily.
zoning you want.
Yeah, I know, I'm just saying what we were told.
Yeah.
So that was kind of our impression, you know, when we bought it. So we have since turned the main house, obviously we took the kitchen out, turned that back into one house, and then renovated parts of that house and this as well.
I have no further questions.
Okay, so anybody else to speak in favor?
I'm in favor.
That's my wife.
Anyone to speak against? Okay, having had a discussion,
Well, I'd like to say that trustees passed this resolution about a year and a half ago. The reason they did that was because although this particular property might not have those kind of problems because they lived there, this would open the door for the rest of the township to have Airbnbs, and they have become an issue and a problem in many other cities. Large parties, you have to pay to get into, and then the people take the money and they're gone. When the police come to do anything, there's nobody in charge. That type of thing and the renters are sometimes very boisterous. They treat the other neighbors really badly. If areas become inundated with Airbnbs, then all of a sudden the schools districts begin to lose the students. And they have to work around the money they're getting now. There's a lot of issues with Airbnbs, and I think that's why the trustees put these rules in place and allowed them in a B2, I1, and I2 area. That was all I have.
There are issues there. I see that. Originally, it was a long-term rental, not your flipping, a couple days at a time, or a weekend at a time. And I have seen in other parts, not in Plain Township, and I think that's why the trustees established the position that they did, but I've seen in other areas, very, very close to here, I've cast an eye toward the city of Canton, where I've seen several of the B&Bs basically blow up due to the things that you just stated. Wild parties, noise, amplified beyond means. So I can see why the trustees put this in place, and that's the statement I want to make.
any further comments or questions? I guess my question would be, for the basis of the appeal, you're requesting it, like, what would the hardship or reason be that you'd be requesting it? Like, if we were to deny it, like, what would the hardship be there?
In what way do you mean like the hardship?
I mean, if it was denied, you wouldn't be able to use it as an Airbnb, so would that be a hardship for you?
It wouldn't, it's not like we need the Airbnb for the additional income, it would be nice to have that income. We might think of doing a long-term renter there if that was also an option, if it wasn't an Airbnb. But I hear what you guys are saying, and I've heard those same stories as well, so I'm not discounting those at all. I would probably venture to guess out of the number that they have there, those are the smaller numbers, and obviously us being there, we can help, mitigate some of those issues, hopefully. But, there are definitely real things that have happened and continue to happen. I know Airbnb, the website has put certain restrictions in place against those to try to prevent them. I'm not sure how successful those have been or not been. I should look that up a little bit more.
I don't know how well they can police anything outside of a website, so, let's take that for what it is.
Sure.
It's a cautionary note, I get a cautionary note.
Just because you mentioned the rental, if you wanna do that, you'll need to come back before the board.
True, makes sense.
Long term.
Yeah, long term.
And Tom, for this type of variance, I didn't do my homework, does it pass from owner to owner, or is it, when the property's sold, does it revert back to,
No, if you put a variance on a property, it stays with the
it stays
property.
with,
It's forever on that property.
Any other comments?
questions, comments, discussion?
I mean, I'm probably gonna have to abstain from voting. I live in that neighborhood. I drive past it every day. It is definitely separated from a lot of the other houses, so I can see your point with the driveway but it's definitely not integrated with the rest of the neighborhood. I think my concern would probably be as a resident, making the same thing that they've stated, that it's not, because it is a quiet neighborhood,
Yep,
that
for
it's
sure.
not getting loud and rowdy and the cars are off the road, because that's a questionable area to turn in
Yeah.
and out of to begin with.
Yeah. And that was the benefit of our parking, is
Yeah.
it does allow that. So because cars are turning in there, if people were backing out, they could definitely see.
And I didn't realize someone was even running in before, so that probably says something.
Well, we've been there 7 years, so it's 7 years that nobody has been renting that building.
Okay.
So it's been a long time.
All right, I guess at this point, I'd entertain a motion.
Well, let's make it 3 for 3.
Okay,
Appeal number 14-03-25, applicant Chad Smith, 6125 Market Avenue North, Canton, Ohio 44721. The applicant would like to utilize the property at 6125 Market Avenue North as a short-term rental Airbnb. The applicant is requesting a variance to allow the use of the short-term rental in a residential district. Now therefore be it hereby resolved by the Plain Township Board of Zoning Appeals to grant the request or deny the request.
any second?
I'll second.
All right. Got a first and a second, any further discussion?
Nothing further from me.
All right, roll call vote.
Mr.
I'm
Oh,
gonna
you're
abstain.
abstaining. Mr. Sutton.
Deny.
Mr. Reichel.
I'm gonna have to turn this one down too.
Mr. Beck.
No.
And I think it goes to the foresight of the trustees, again, as Mr. Ferrara stated earlier. I would be more than welcome to revisit this if a long-term rental would be in the offing going forward. But I see the concept of the Airbnbs, but a lot of them have not been very good neighbors. And it is what it is. And I'm not saying that you would be one of those individuals, far from it. But once they get out of control, they get out of control in a hurry. And I don't like the fact that if we would grant this, that it would stay with that. If you would move down on somewhere down the line and leave it there, I wouldn't have to want to address this again. That's my thinking on
Okay, finish out the business, the announcements, there is a meeting on August 6th. And
that. You can talk to Mr. Ferrara.
I talked to them a lot.
Okay.
there's a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, guys.
No, thank you, Mr. Smith.